Storyteller, please make some noise for Lisa. Shalom! You ready?
Thank you. Hi. It's freshly 2023, and I'm crouching in the entryway of a county hospital emergency waiting room filled to the brim with COVID patients, inconsolable children, and not enough seating. Evening comes, and they sit me on a bed with flurries of activities rushing this way and that. And by this point, the financials department has kindly informed me that my insurance has been canceled on a technicality, and I now owe tens of thousands of dollars in sudden medical bills. I'm now shaking more from the stress of the financial burden than the health concerns, and from having fasted all day under fluorescent lighting. I am accustomed to riding solo in fearless warrior mode. I left home to defend sharks from poachers and whales from harpoons on board a rusty old ship falling apart at the seams. But lone wolfing this sucks, and I wish that someone was there to hold my sweaty hands. I wear a mezuzah around my neck as a reminder that I, just like the literal translation of this word itself, am a threshold. Just like this object that we place in our doorways to bless and protect the home, I am an intermediary between the wild swirl of an outside world and an inner safe haven. The doctor pushes my necklace aside, and he runs his ultrasound apparatus over a mysterious lump. Robert Frost says that a poem begins as a lump in the throat. The doctor tells me that the lump in mine is partially solid. He tells me that we're going to have to run a bunch more tests and that we may be dealing with a word that starts with C and rhymes with dancer. I want to block this word at the threshold. I, reeling, tell him, I understand that I need to do more tests. I'm not sure I can afford to. He tells me I can't afford not to. A few weeks later, I am desperately trying to secure medical coverage when a health insurance agent flings the documents that I've left on his desk at me after I run into the hallway to take a call from the hospital. The forms scatter around me like anti-confetti in slow motion as the doctor informs me that the biopsy has indeed revealed cancer. It's the sound of breaking glass. I am surrounded by strangers as I implode. I go into my car and I have my eyes peeled for any fleck of love or kindness or beauty from the universe. The guy in the car next to me leans over, rolls down his window, and he says, "What the fuck are you looking at?" It's majestic. That night, the sobs that escape my body, they're primal. I am begging, raging, grieving, pleading with life itself to please not break up with me like this. I go black on social media. I stop answering most calls and texts. Some of you in the audience tonight are now understanding why. For someone who teaches spoken word poetry as a means of authentic expression, where is my voice? Stuck at the gateway, beefing with security. As the days and weeks wear on, it becomes impossible to maintain a work schedule alongside a rigorous hospital schedule. I begin to feel as though the hospital is my home address, with harsh metallic beeping roommates. They take more blood and stamina than I knew I had. My body, mind, and spirit are driven to the very edge, but still I make the choice to go through much of this bumping along the ocean floor alone. If they could all see into this abyss, would they hold me to the light? How would they judge? And who would stay? Hold the timer. But the nurse holds my hand. She lets me crush her hand with my sweaty palms when we take more biopsies, and the doctor gives me his personal number. for questions, and the secretary she asks if she could pray for me when I swear that nothing else could have pulled me through to the next moment. The morning of my surgery, I have my roller skates for the waiting room and my playlist for the drive. They mark my neck with a Sharpie, and they wheel me in through the doors of the operating room, and I surprise myself by not latching onto the frame in protest. Instead of arguing with reality, I make a home for it. I take off my necklace, I lay a welcome mat at the door. Come in. IV, sedatives, fentanyl, scalpels, everything I never wanted. Come on in. I just make a home for it all. And I find that every detail of all that is present is actually exquisite. Confronting mortality, yes, it turns everything black, but it also sharpens my eyesight to see in Technicolor the fleeting poetry of it all. Even this. And so they put a gas mask on me, and I cross into full surrender. I wake up, covered in wires, tearfully giving thanks for another chance to be alive and breathing. I thank the hospital staff for being my angels in a voice that sounds a little bit like Gollum. Thank you. And this side of the portal makes it basically impossible to test how hefty a burden I can bear while unexpressed in isolation until my back breaks. I am forced to lean on my loved ones for everything, turning my head, facing down frigid waters in Antarctica, facing down machine gun fire on a rusty old ship. No biggie. Conjuring the humility to extend a sweaty hand to grace. Brutal. But when I do, some lighthouse shines right in. Joyfully, willingly, lovingly. Recently, I sat down with a street poet, and I asked that my poem be about overcoming a medical condition. He wrote, "For Lisa." Everything can turn into beauty. I remember this when I forget everything else. I wear a necklace, a mezuzah as a reminder to pass through. I stand in a crowd and am grateful to be one, just one of many, all crossing, hurting, writing secret prayers. My mezuzah now sits on an 8-inch scar, and I wear it not as an amulet to ward off bad things, better instead to lift an armorless gaze, to meet the beauty that comes to love into my darkness, and to welcome it all the way in, past the threshold. Thank you.
Lisa, shalom, everyone.